Yes, we want to thank you so much for joining us on the program today. This is another fresh program of Focal Point. Of course, you know that that is the key program today in Abia State, southeast of Nigeria, and aging towards strongly in Nigeria. And this program will discuss political issues and other trending issues happening in and around us. My name remains Emenike Rebu, the anchor of this particular show and this discussion. And today I have in the studio a former commissioner for youth Abia State an agripreneur in the person of Ubani Dannie. Comrade, you're welcome.
My pleasure.
You're in our studio today. We thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Okay, let's go straight to our discussion. Our viewers, I know you, but our viewers may want to know more about who Ubani Dannie is. Can you let us into those information?
Thank you so much. As you rightly said, my name is Dannie Ubani. Dannie Ubani is a Nigerian citizen of Abia extraction who is desirous of having the best in our society. Occupationally, I'm a farmer, a local farmer. What I do, I'm proud of it. And I take very conscious and interest in politics because it affects a whole lot of things, if not everything. I'm happily married to a very beautiful lady, colleague the part of finance, and our marriage is fortunately blessed with a son.
Yes, we have gotten to know Dannie Ubani now, and we'll go straight to our discussion today. Remember that this discussion will be so interesting because if you have followed Ubani Dannie on Facebook, on social media handles, you'll find the topical issues which he discusses, and a lot of people comment one way or the other. But let me start from there, sir. What actually, you have this lot of these followers on social media who like, and your topics are always very topical. How do you have a very good creative writing skill? How? Was it something you were born of or born with or you trained yourself?
Well, both sides of the same coin. I'm a voracious reader. You can't be a good reader, an attentive reader without that impacting on your writing skill. Then if you say I'm a creative writer, I take that as a compliment and as well as a challenge to keep on improving. Yeah.
Thank you very much on that. Let's go into our discussion from today. Yes, you served under the present government as a commissioner, and you played your own part in terms of impacting the system the much you can. And obviously, that will make us believe that you have a good knowledge of what this government is and what it's all about. Can you give us an insight into how can you evaluate this government? The government of Governor of Abia State.
Yeah, beyond being an active participant in its government at the time, I think as an Abian, I should be, and indeed I am, well informed over the intricacies and dynamics of what governance should be and what the Ipazulet government is. You see, when you assess a public official, more so when you assess an executive player such as a governor, you don't assess and evaluate him and his performance in isolation with the resources available. When people try to compare the performance, the actions and inactions of the Ipazulet government of Abia State with those of states like Rivers State, they miss the mark, or Lagos State. What accrues to Rivers State in a month from federation account, whether you call it FAC or the statutory revocation, and what accrues to her again from the oil derivation reform and all that. Yes. What Rivers gets in a month may be slightly higher than what Abia gets in a year. And that is in isolation with realities being paid by the prospecting oil companies here. So when you say that Winke has done 5 flyovers in 2 years, and Ibazo has been bragging on a flyover for 2, 3 years. That comparison is not good. So, comparatively speaking, judging from where Abia was in 2015, and where Ibazo has taken it to in these 6.5 years, Ibazo may not have built bridges where there are no rivers, but he has laid the basic concrete foundation for an emergence of a modern state. And you see, foundations are not all that attractive, and they are not very often or frequently spoken of, because foundations are not visible for the uninformed to see and assess. Before you can have a beautiful edifice, there must be a concrete, solid foundation upon which that edifice will stand. If not, it will amount to building castles in the air. So Ibadan has laid solid foundation for the emergence of a modern state. And you know, government and governance is a continuum. Having laid this foundation now for whoever that will succeed him, you find out that whoever that succeeds him will hit the road running. Unlike him, who started virtually from nowhere. If you remove the Ibazo factor from Abia today, if you remove the Ibazo imprint from Abia today, you find out that what you have is a totally collapsed car. Not.
Okay, now that we're making comparison, obviously if you compare Rivers State or Lagos State or Akwa Ibom to Abia State, it will be a wrong comparison. What if we compare Ebonyi State to Abia State? There are some basic differences. What do you think is the result of that?
What is Ebonyi's workforce? I have served as a commissioner here, where you have up to 7, 8 directors in a ministry that do little or nothing. You don't see them from week to week. They only surface at the end of the month to take salaries. It would have taken a satanic political will to cleanse the system. Cleansing and cleaning the system by forcing people to go into premature retirement. That would have saved a whole lot of money for the government to function. Then those people that are redundant in the various ministries, who are they? Are they not Abians? Then you, the pressman, would you have been merciful in criticizing the government if the governor had wielded the big stick of saying, let us cut our staff strength, let's say by half, thereby throwing these people into the already saturated labor market, creating in the process other social side effects and vices? Crime would have been on the increase. Are you getting it? And now, how much is Ebonyi State's wage bill? How much is Abia's wage bill? Okay. Abia, on the average, gets like 4 billion naira in a month. And Abia squanders, to me, that is mere squander money. Abia squanders about 2.5 billion on wage bill. Even more than that. And so, in some months, you find out that the state is left with less than 500 million to run Abia State. Now again, how many cities, how many urban areas does the Ebonyi State have? What is the size of Abakaliki? Abakaliki is not up to from Abai to Asa Road. It is just like when Mbakwe was the governor of all Imo State 1979-1983. He had multiple cities to develop at the same time. He had Aba, Olu, Okigwe, Owerri. You see him carrying them at the same time. Now, when critics took on him, they were trying to compare him with states with mini urban area, just a one city state. When you come to Abia, you see Ibazo duplicating whatever thing he has done or tries to do in Aba in a place like Umuahia. Umuahia, half of Umuahia is bigger than Abakaliki. That could be doubtful. That particular section could be doubtful. It is left for you. But Aba as a town is like times 4 Abakaliki town. Okay. No. And I tell you another thing. Yes. Most of the things the Ebonyi State government, I give him kudos, are doing is for populist intentions. They do not bear direct and immediate economic realities. I mean any impact to the immediate economic realities and needs of the man.
That is still your opinion.
I'll give you an instance. When you build an international airport in Ebonyi State, who is that international airport going to serve? What is the traffic flow?
No, you are going to consider what is the projection of the government? What is the plan of the government? Do they have a target of having an international? Of course, they have a big market now in Ebonyi. What is the projection?
How flourishing is that?
And remember also, they have built a 21st century hospital there. Of course, when you talk about for clinic, will fly.
When you talk about medical tourism, I say yes. Good. Now, when you talk about building international market, building a Chomodan International Airport, governance means politics and governance entails authoritative allocation of state values.
Yes.
And in authoritatively allocating the state values, you must make recourse into those areas where you have comparative advantage. If I were to be the governor of Ebonyi State, I would channel and direct most of my resources into such areas like solid mineral and agriculture, where Ebonyi State has comparative advantage over every other state in this country.
That is the point you are making. But without sounding as though I'm arguing with you, which is not the proper thing to do, every state has its ideology. Apart from that, the basic strength...
The ideology could also be misplaced.
Hold on. The basic strength of a state is to develop infrastructures to meet up with their target in the future. If maybe the state wants to position itself as a key state in Southeast, one thing they need to put in order is infrastructure. And infrastructure, just like we have in our state now, of course, no doubt about that we need massive infrastructure in this state. Because the more better infrastructure is, the more better we can get investors come, the more better we can cut criminalities, the more better we can even have better image as a people.
Let me still take you up on that.
Yes.
You see, when you come to Abia State, there was a time the governor said he was going to build an airport. To me, it was a misplaced priority. It was just any governor building an airport in the present day Abia State, even in the next 10-12 years, is misplacing the priority. Why? Because of our proximity to Port Harcourt International Airport, Calabar Airport, Owerri Airport, and even Enugu Airport. Now, even with the volume of commerce going on in Aba, the average Aba man is yet to develop to the extent of embracing travel as a means of conveying his goods or moving himself from one area to the other. Now, prioritization, proper prioritization is key in the management of scarce resources. Like the Ibazulate government places premium importance, premium attention on SME because of the simple and singular fact that Abia people are traders and artisans. Now you see him leveraging on this area where we have comparative advantage. Do you know the maintenance cost of an international airport in a year? And mind you, most of these airports, after building, will be handed over to the Federal Ministry of Aviation. Now, what is the proximity between Enugu Airport and Ebonyi State? As a governor, if you are telling me Omahi is building flyovers, he's building hospitals, kudos. But when it is about Ebonyi International Airport, they just want to be in that elite club and have it to his name that he built an airport. How functional? It's just like Enugu Airport. How functional is Enugu International Airport when it comes to that word international? How many foreign airlines operate there? You find out that even Enugu International Airport is grossly underutilized.
Well, you have a point, and still yet, I don't want us to put our focus on discussing Ebonyi State. Let us discuss where we are, because we would need to now get somebody from Ebonyi State to begin to also make statements as regards what you are saying. But let's move forward. Now, recently, there has been a lot of backlash as regards media activities against this present government. What do you think is the problem? Is it that people are not understanding the narrative of Governor Kezi Ikpeazu, or is it that his media handlers are not doing enough? What do you think is the problem? Are we playing bad politics?
It's a very smart question you've asked, and I give it to you. And you have equally preferred an answer. The answer is bad politics. The answer is bad politics. You see, I told you that Ikpeazu is a scientist. Scientists doesn't dwell on effects, but causative factors. Ikpeazu is just like a builder. No architect starts building by painting. A good architect, a good builder, that is what he saw, starts by testing the soil formation. In this place that we want to site this 20-story building, is the soil formation, the soil texture conducive to carry such enormous weight. After that, it goes into foundation. And what will carry this gigantic edifice, building, it's not the windows, it's not the attractive colors that the building will finally adorn, but those irons and concrete and cement that are not visible to the ordinary eye because they are foundational. They are buried under the soil. Then you don't expect a kindergarten analyst to understand why the speed of the project is not accelerated. Because he doesn't understand that something goes on at the foundational level. So Ikpeazu, as I said, is building, he has laid a solid foundation for the emergence of a modern state. He may not have all the time and resources to drive the whole process to perfect, beautiful completion that would want applause and accolades from the non-informed analyst. So, because he is preoccupied with foundation, that has brought a whole lot of criticisms, which has been leveraged upon by those who wished to be but are not, and perhaps may not be. Now, for you to come to public acclaim, win applause for yourself, more so in the downtown arena of the uninformed, you must have to lampoon Ikpeazu, you must have to get him pilloried, you must have to castigate him, everything, including a man who fails to impregnate his wife in Nigeria today, blames Ikpeazu. But how true, how constructive, how objective, how analytically true are these criticisms? Comparatively speaking, we have had 3 democratically elected governors since 1999.
Yes.
Who among them did better than Ikpeazu? Is it Ojo Zokano? Is it Tito Orji? Tito Orji spent almost 5 years trying to clean the mess of Ojo Zokano's government. So by the time he was leaving, those teaching problems were still there. Now Ikpeazu came, was saddled to the point of being distracted for almost 4 years, yet he was able to paddle the wobbling canoe of statecraft, Abia statecraft, to where it is today. You see, in Africa, more so in this part of the country, we don't appreciate leaders when they are there. Leaders are always appreciated when they are no longer there. It remains about 18 months or so. Ikpeazu's governorship will become a thing of the past.
Become history.
Then analysts, bookmakers, bookwriters will be in a more advantageous and more strategically positioned to evaluate. But comparatively speaking, he is doing the best any person in his position could have done.
Okay, let's take it from this direction now. Of course, I know you've been meeting the governor one time or the other, but if it happens that the governor is sitting opposite to you now, and you want to tell him few challenges you think he should fix before the 18 months elapse, what are you going to tell him?
Yeah, I have been meeting him before he became the governor. I have been meeting him even now that he's the governor, and as a mentor of mine, I hope to be meeting him even after he ceases to be a governor. My advice to him is not for public consumption, but as a matter of fact, he is in a haste. He is, in fact, very passionate about delivering more dividends, democratic dividends, to Abians. In as much as the funds are not commensurate to his, with his will, his zeal, his passion to deliver, he should now focus and concentrate on the already projects going on than initiating fresh ones.
At least the flag for the high Matela.
Yes. Hospitala na dining table. Maybe you guys weren't gracious enough to call it dining table. You call it center table. You know, dining table is always longer. From there, stone base. When I passed there now, we are shouting it.
Yes, even I saw a video where people were walking on top of me. Okay, let's move into the 2023 brouhaha. Of course, the 2023 governorship election is already brewing, and people are juggling for different interests. People are beginning to show serious interest in it. So, if considering where Governor Kizikbal is coming from, and from 2023 up, what kind of a candidate, what kind of a person would you see? This is the kind of person, this is the kind of personality, this is the kind of character that we would need to represent, to replace Okezekpazu. Not calling a name, but what kind of a person or character?
We need somebody that is younger. Because if somebody that is 60 years and above becomes the governor of Abia State today, his approach, the panacea you would offer to Abia challenges wouldn't be in tune with the 21st century challenges. The person must have the energy, the drive, the exposure, the intellectual acumen, and the iron determination, political will.
Iron determination?
Yes, iron determination.
What will you use that for? Because iron determination seems to be dangerous.
No, iron determination goes with political will.
Okay.
Most of the challenges the present governor has is because he's soft-hearted, and people use it against him. Being resolute, being determined,
standing your ground,
is one cardinal element of leadership. You can't compromise, no matter whose boss is God. But here, when you try to do it that way, a whole lot of backlash comes back. But then, if I were to be a governor, to help with those things, I'll do what I think is right.
Putting you on the spot, which of those decisions you think the governor has taken that he has not been favored?
Like the opening of Fox Road.
Okay.
When people castigate him, when people blame him today because of the so-called collapse of Fox Road, it's because he hearkened to the plea, to the entreaties, to the request of our business community. Always people can maybe run a Fox Road. Our businesses are suffering. We don't have any other alternative. Now he was faced with two options. Do I open Fox Road now that the contractor has not finished and run the risk of the foundation caving in, the work already done deteriorating, presenting us with the possibilities, in fact, the reality of starting afresh, thereby spending more money? Or do I lock my heart and lock Fox Road and have my people suffer and perhaps die out of penury and hunger, thereby saving money? Before Okezia Ikpeazu the governor, there was Okezia Ikpeazu the humanist.
But all these projects are on timeline. But all these projects are on timeline.
Yeah, they are on timeline.
Yes, and in the sense that a contractor has a project. He has a timeline.
Sorry, in project management, everything answers the availability of resources.
Okay.
What do you call budgeting? Budgeting is financial projection for the future and its expenditure. Nigerian government, you see federal government sending supplementary appropriation bills to the National Assembly. What does it entail?
It entails that there is a particular project they need more funds for.
What it means is a default, a shortfall from financial projection, what you projected to get. You couldn't get it. Now you have a shortfall. In other words, in layman's language, deficit of fund. It happens to federal government. When you have a timeline, come on, all of us, we are organized private sector
you have
players.
to put in cognizance that that is a flagship project.
No, nobody rules that out.
So, which means that even you, as Ubani Dannie, if you have a project as a flagship project, you would go around to make sure that there is enough fund to maintain the timeline.
When the desirable is not available,
considering also that place is a very important traffic road for the people.
I don't rule out these realities. And if there's any man, all these things spend hunt more than any other person, it is Governor Ibaz. I have seen him in his sober moment. I have seen him scratching his head, brainstorming on how to get all these things done. But wishes are not horses. Okay?
I agree with you.
When the desirable is not available, the available becomes desirable.
Yes, we are still with our former commissioner and agropreneur, a very strong intellectual. Of course, we've been discussing roundly on various issues, and he's still in the studio. Ubani Dannie is still in the studio, and I remain here with the anchor of this show, and we are discussing Abia. We are discussing the Abia state government, OKZ administration. We are discussing other issues, and we will still be discussing more. So just stay hooked and enjoy the discussion. Remember, you can call into the show. The number to call is there. I've not even checked, but the call is there. Thank you very much. And then let's go back to 2023. You have given an insight into the kind of person you wish should be the next governor. A younger person, a person that will be more energetic, somebody that will have an iron will to take decisions and stand by it. So let's move into the zoning issue. What is your view about zoning? Some people have said zoning is not important. We need somebody that will move Abia to the next level. Some people have said, no, zoning is important. What is your stand on it?
My stand is the admixture of both.
Okay.
You can't mortgage quality for quantity in the name of zoning.
Okay.
You don't sacrifice competence on the altar of zoning.
Okay.
Abia is richly blessed both in human and material resources. There is no segment of Abia that doesn't have qualified governorship materials. So let us zone and go to that place the governorship position is zoned to and get the best.
Or should somebody be gotten for you?
Pardon?
Or should somebody, a set of people, get somebody for you?
In politics is meeting before meeting and meeting before, after meeting.
Okay.
Conspiracy of the elite. So the elite must conspire. That's the reality.
I am one of the elites, of course.
I'm a poor village
who are going to conspire.
I'm a poor village farmer.
You know that word conspire comes with a lot of
negativity. A word has no meaning except in the context it is used. Conspire here. You see,
it's as if they want to conspire against the people.
No. They must consult within themselves. You don't see, let us forget the pretense. There must be class interest.
Of course.
What you have in the world, anywhere in the world as election, is elitist recruitment.
But you know that there are also elections where the people have taken a decision by making sure a candidate fails, disagreeing with the elite.
Even that person the masses pitch their tent with. Or from which social class is he from?
No, what I'm trying to say is
it's also a member of the elite. Even if you were to be part of the masses, once elected, he gets indoctrinated with elitist principles.
But there's a very
and he becomes a member of the elite
again. It's very important that the elites begin to check the pulse of the people so that they can narrow down their decisions in a way that the people will be happy about.
No, when we say when I say when I mention elite conspiracy, it's not in the negative form.
Context, okay?
Not in the negative form. And you see the realities of the moment, just like the two biblical sons of Zebedee, is such that you must understand the signs of time. The pulse of the moment is that Abians need somebody that will start from where this governor will stop, hit the ground running, throttling down on gear 5 without looking back and take us to our next level. And that requires competence. That requires erudition. That requires political exposure. That requires organized business sector mindset. So when the elite, or when you and I are making the choice, we must have these variables at the back of our mind. Now, as to which zone, because I know this, my position on this is why you have dragged me to this position. As for which zone that should produce the next governor, I am quite assertive, very bold, very courageous, and I'm saying this as a matter of truth, honesty, fairness, equity, and natural justice. The Opangwa people, in other words, the old band has done their 16 years. Now, old Abazon should be given the chance of producing another governor to bring at par our years with our brothers from both bed. So I am saying it, I'm appealing to all men and women of good will and good faith. I'm saying this with all good conscience. The Upangwa people, old Abazon, should be given an unhindered access, opportunity to produce the next government.
Okay, that will take me to my next question, which is, it's also a question that is very popular on the street. And the question is, the election of the present governor, Governor Ubani, it is alluded that it was based on senatorial zones. And of course, it's a popular information. We all had it, even when the former governor, Theory, was talking about the now Senator Theory, that Abia North has gone, Abia Central has gone, let it go to Abia South. That was the mantra as at then. They're not asking, why is the mantra changing? Because it's as though there's a movement from senatorial zone understanding to now the different old Bende and old Abazon. Why?
Okay, you see, to answer this
or
question,
is it part of the politics?
To answer this question most succinctly and truthfully, I have to make a historical allusion.
You're free.
In 1999, or before 1999, there is a document authored and assented to by the founding fathers of Abia State.
Yes.
People
which is the Abia Charter of Equity,
who gave their yesterday that we might have a peaceful, prosperous today.
Yeah.
Abia Charter of Equity.
Yeah.
Abia Charter of Equity recognized. Abia Charter of Equity recognized and upheld two power blocks in Abia. And the recognition of these two power blocks did not come as a bolt from the blue. It is premised. It is the product of our socio-cultural realities.
Yes.
There are two people that make up the geopolity called Abia.
What you are saying now, is it in the Abia Charter of Equity?
I'm coming. This is what gave rise to the Abia Charter of Equity.
Okay.
Now the founding fathers envisaged a peaceful transition of power process that wouldn't jeopardize our peace. In 1999, Ojo Zokali became the governor. He did 88. The right thing he should have done was to transmit power to Opangwa zone. But because he had so many baggages, so many dirty skeletons in his cupboard, that he wanted to be covered at all costs, he now changed the rule of the game in the course of the game. When you hear people talking about zoning along senatorial zones, it is urging Senator Joseph Okala as he is today, that started it. Now he used his brother, his old Benny brother, to shortchange the Okangwa people. He used his chief of staff to hoodwink the Abia voting populace because he needed somebody that would clear and clean his mess. Now T. Orji became the governor. T. Orji, having done 8 years, was pricked by his conscience to transmit power to the people of old Abazo. And knowing that the political hawks from Abia North wouldn't accede or succumb easily to that transmission of power, he now used the senatorial district basis to justify the decision. You see, Senator T. Orji is a smart man. He knows that the monkey and gorilla may claim oneness, but monkey is monkey, gorilla, gorilla. Now, the power was transmitted to Okangwa people in Abia South. And that office today is being occupied by His Excellency, Governor Okezie Paz. When he would have finished in 2023, the same, whether you call it Abia South Senatorial Zone or Okangwa people, the reality, the socio-political and even historical reality is that out of the 16 years our old Ben brothers did, the old Aba people, old Abazon people would have done only 8 years in 2023 when His Excellency Governor Okezie Paz would have finished. So natural justice and equity demand that whether you call it, when you say it is being done senatorially, we still have a good case because the 3 senatorial zones have done. And now it can start from anywhere. Are you getting it? And I think that informed Senator Abari-based aspiration. Now, if you say
aspiration, okay,
governorship aspiration
from Abia South,
from anywhere again,
okay,
good. Now, those of us from the Okangwa axis of Abia Central, we have a very good and justiciable and justifiable case in saying that Abia North has done 8 years, Abia Central section of Old Bend has done another 8 years. Now Okangwa people in Abia South have done 8 years. It is only naturally right for the Okangwa people in Abia Central
to do another 8
years. After which we will now join to persuade and appeal to every man and woman of good conscience for power to transmit to Abia North. After Abia North would have done another 8 years, it will still come to Abia Central and stop at the Old Bend section of Abia Central. They will do their 8 years. Now it will get transmitted to Abia South. Now the Okwa people axis
will now take position.
Yeah.
Well, I like your explanation. Your explanation looks very fluid and very okay. But then let's go back to that issue of Abia Charter of Equity, because it seems as though you didn't get it very well. I don't know if have you gotten that material? Have you been with that material?
I have been with Abia Charter of Equity as a document right from 1998.
Okay, based on the Abia Charter of Equity, the narration of shift of power was based on the 4 alphabets in Abia. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Which means we have the Afigo, we have the Isukwato, we have the Bende, and we have the Abazo. Am I correct?
You are right.
Then now, if you are very clinical in what you are talking about, why didn't you say, if we are going back to the Charter of Equity, being that we have Afigo has gone, Bende, which is the former governor, which is the have taken, and at the moment now, Governor from Abazo have taken, and it's remaining in Isukwato. If you are being justifiable, don't you think that you should have said, okay, Isukwato should take it on?
Well, there's what we call leadership idiosyncrasy. That is when a leader, perhaps an opinion molder, a governor, a legislator, a public policy formulator, and indeed a journalist, allows his choice, allows his experience, his prejudice, his interest to influence his choice of public policy. You now, as an old bende man, you now as an Isukwato man, you have allowed your personal idiosyncrasies to affect the choice of.
I don't think your statement is correct. I'm only trying to see how.
I'm coming.
I'm only trying to see that.
What is the justice? What is the justice? You see, politics is a game of what? Leverage.
Hold on. Let me clear something first. It's important that a politician, a leader like you, always looks at something from both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
Now, as a journalist, my job is to show you other postulations, other options, what other people are saying, not minding where I'm coming from. So
no,
the question,
it was on a lighter mood. No, it may be some semblance of truth.
So my last question was based on the Abia Charter of Equity, considering the fact that everybody labeled on that alphabet have taken a turn. And it seems as though that the only person that turn is Chukwato. And you are basing your demanding for justice on that same Charter of Equity. Do you think it would have been fair for you to comfortably say that old Bender should, old Abaso should take again when there is an eye which have not taken at all? That's the question.
The issue is this.
So don't blackmail me.
No. The issue is this. What you people would have taken was usurped at the instance of the man who ruled from 1999 to 2007.
You are talking about justice. Why don't you work for justice?
This is the justice.
It doesn't,
see,
it doesn't seem so.
No. See, a word, I have said it before, a word has no meaning except in the context it is used.
Yes, correct.
And that is why a court of first instance will convict somebody. Then the person will look at it and say, this court wasn't fair to me. He goes on appeal. Then the trial judge or judges at the appeal court, because there are more than one at that level, will look at the whole thing based on the same law. They will give it a different interpretation and perhaps free the man that has been already convicted or even add to the punishment given to him. Say, the judge at the court of first instance was very lenient. This thing giving you 7 years, you should do 10 years. Okay? So you are interpreting, or whoever that is doing interpretation of the same Abia Charter of Equity upon which we are premising our agitation may have misinterpreted what was written there. The issue is that there are two political blocks in Abia.
That's what I'm saying, because I don't want us to use
recognize
Abia Charter of Equity.
No. Even at
because
that,
you are using it as if you are using it wrongly.
No. That is their own perception. Because of their own personal idiosyncrasies.
That is not correct. That is not
correct. Historically, yes. I am telling you, there are two brothers in Abia. There are two power blocks, as even recognized by the Abia Charter of Equity. Now, if the Isukwato man is making an agitation as he is entitled to make, justice demands that after we, Umunato, have taken a turn. We will now clamor, work for, and support the emergence of an Abia governor from the Isukwato axis.
Well, my people, I've been talking to, it's a very interesting discussion, of course, as you know. And Ubani Dannie is a very interactive person. So we've been having a very wonderful discussion on different issues. We've been having comments on our social media handle, and some of them, I'm not going to read that. It doesn't really meet up to what we're talking about. Someone said Uchoga is the right candidate to carry go. Another person say, I'm watching from Anambra State. Boss, I cite you. I think the person who's talking about you is Chibike Vic. We have somebody say, so what point exactly is this man making? Is it justifying Ipazu's inability to perform or what? That's another opinion. That's his point.
Everyone is entitled to his opinion.
So say, I'm watching from London. Osborne Paul, watching from London. I have a lot of people, a lot of comments. But before, let's still discuss a little bit on this same zoning issue. There is also a very strong Abia North agitation, which are saying that they believe in the senatorial zone arrangement. They say that that zoning arrangement is more of what is modern on the table. That is more of what is workable. That is more of what doesn't look so confusing. That they believe that if power had started from Ojus Okano, Abia North came to Central and then gone to South, then it should have started again from the beginning, from the North, also move that way. don't you think that the argument also makes sense?
It boils down to what I have told you earlier. Those people making such projection, propagation, you have told me where they came from, and they are not. So they are clamoring for what they think will serve their immediate selfish interest, but not what will serve.
Just like they are clamoring for what will solve their immediate selfish interest.
No,
right?
what we are clamoring has truth in it. It has justice.
But you just said that other people are clamoring for selfish interest.
Because aren't you doing so? Because what they are clamoring for is at variance with natural justice and equity.
How?
Unless if you are telling me
if their basis on the basis of senatorial zone, don't you think they have the point?
Even if you want it to be on the basis of senatorial zone, it is now, it came from Abia North to Abia Central. It didn't jump Abia Central. It landed in Abia South. Now, let us follow the course of natural progression. As it is leaving Abia South, let it also make a stopover
at Abia Central.
At Abia Central, the Umunatazis of Abia Central. After which it will also transmit to Abia North. By so doing, you have killed a multiple base with one stone.
Now, are you saying that if it comes to Abia Central,
yes,
nobody else should contest except people from Umunato? Is that what you're postulating?
You see, in politics,
because it's already, you said, if it comes to Abia Central, that means everybody there is eligible.
In politics, constant contest is the defining hallmark of politics. Contest, periodic contest. PDP will tell you we have zoned our position to this. However, whoever that wants to contest is at liberty. That was the issue in 2015. They zoned the governorship to Abia South. Uchioga from Isukwato, didn't he contest?
He did.
If he had won,
in
2015.
No, he didn't contest. He dropped at the primary.
No, he failed the primary.
Yes, he dropped.
No, he didn't drop. He failed the primary.
He failed the primary. Now. That's even arguable because they will say they didn't fail in the primary. So I don't want to be.
No. You are a journalist now.
Yes.
You should be at home with historical realities and facts.
The fact is that
he contested and lost.
As far as communication is concerned, people have different opinions.
But what is the historical reality?
He didn't win.
Which means he failed.
He didn't win.
Good. So the zoning did not exclude him from or bar him from contesting. You see, this zoning of a thing is morally persuasive. It has no legal backing. So if your people are saying, if the people of Abia North are saying, let us also do it on senatorial basis, nice and good. It is the way it came. It should also travel back that way.
We are having some clamors from some other entities also in Abia Central, saying that if, and from the Umuahia Ikuano axis, saying if at any point in time your party, which is the PDP, desires and ended up zoning the governorship to Abia Central, that they will run for it.
They are free to do it, but they will be laying a very dangerous precedent. Just the same way people, guys like us, we are like, Uchoga, drop down your ambition in 2015. 8 years is not too long a period in the life of a nation, in the life of a state. Here we are now. The 8 years have almost elapsed. Are you getting it? Now, when you people are saying Abia North, has there been any time, or in 2015 or in 2019, that people from Abia North did not throw in their heart into the political contest to restore power from Okezifa?
Of course, there is none. And even at that point, so that's the same clamor that Abia South also gave in 2015. They also clamor for Abia South. They try to persuade. So it's a common denominator. So every zone will want to call for people to support.
I as an Abian of Umunato extraction
of Abia Central.
Yes, of Abia Central, would want to be reassured of my Abianness. I would want to be reassured of my Abia Central.
Abia Central has gotten a shot at power.
Get it right. I said, Dannie Ubani, the president of Supreme Council of Opangwa Youth, of being an Abian of Umunato extraction of Abia Central, I would want to be reassured of my Abianness, that Abia belongs to me in equal proportion, the same way it belongs to the Abian from Abia North, the same way it belongs to the Abian from Abia Central of Old Bend extraction, the same way it belongs to Abians of Abia South. I want to be reassured by being given that leverage to become or support who becomes the next governor of my state from my place. But when you people catapult the thing from Abia North to Abia Central and give it to Umar and give it to Umuahia axis of Abia North and still move it away to Abia South by passing us, little justice demand that as the power is about leaving now, let it make a stopover and greet us.
Okay.
Yes, here I am. Do with me as you please.
Okay, the discussion is quite interesting. I think for a while I've not had a quite interesting interview like this. This is a very good one. And then Ubani Dannie has been speaking to us on various issues, diverse issues. We've talked about him as an individual. We've evaluated the government and the leadership of Governor President Faro's government, his government. We're now into the 2023 governorship group, of course, and that's where the heat has been coming from. Okay, so now, what will you tell people of Abia South who feel that the governorship should start from them, that it has gone round, so we can start from anywhere? And which, of course, you alluded to the fact that's why the distinguished Senator Ewina Barime is coming out for it. What would you tell them to convince them about your own agenda?
You see, the person of Senator Ewina Barime, his personality looks so big, is such a giant. From whatever perspective you may look at it, that I may be too inconsequential to deliberate on his personality and his aspirations. But be that as it may, he's a Nigerian, he's an Abian, an elder statesman who has so much to contribute in state building and statecraft and all that. He has a legitimate ambition. That is certain, okay? But I, as his younger brother, coming from Umunnato Aziz of Abia Central, I think my people, our people from this Aziz should be given a chance to produce the best government.
Okay. You've heard his advice to his brothers from the Abia South Axis, our brothers from the Abia South Axis, telling them to allow them from the Umunnato Axis and take a shot at the government. We discussed so many things today, and I think these are the rounding time at the rounding up point of this discussion today. And my final question would be: so we have talked about the kind of person we are going to you think Abia State needs
at this moment.
Like at this moment, continuing from where Governor Faso will drop the baton, somebody that can take up from there. We've talked about the zoning issue. Now, what will be your advice to Abia generally as the elections are coming forward for people to view politics more like a game and not something to kill ourselves about? What's your advice?
Firstly to the youth. This mantra of only saying we wait should stop forthwith. Let us become more objective. Let us become issue-oriented. Let us see politics as a call to service, more so as a vocation. For you to be an objective-minded politician, you must have a forwarding address. You shouldn't take politics as a business. That creates a room for desperation. That creates a room for servitude. Whatever thing your boss or your mentor does, you commend him, you applaud him, even when you know that thing you're applauding him for is repugnant and repulsive to your conscience. Secondly, let Abians know that we are one people. What is good for A should equally be good for Mr. B. That is the only thing we can do to ensure a united, cohesive, prosperous state. Now, coming to the choice of who governs Abia in 2023. In as much as I am quite concerned and indeed optimistic that our people from Old Bank Zone, even at the South, will do the right thing by allowing the Umunnato Axis of Abia Central of Abia State to produce the next governor, so as to bring the Opangwa man's stint at the governorship to 16 years. We shouldn't compromise or sacrifice polity, merit, or meritocracy shouldn't be mocked at the altar of zoning. Let us, while insisting that the next governor should come from Umunato of Abia Central, let us insist in going for somebody that has the heart to deliver. Somebody that has the competence. When I say competence and capacity, I mean exposure, erudition. I have said it before, iron determination, that's political will. And somebody who wouldn't even give a damn if he does a second term or not. Because this quest for a second term makes an incumbent to be lily-livered. He wouldn't want to step on certain tools so as not to ruffle feathers. Somebody that would be quite mindful of not the applause he will receive now, but what posterity will record for him.
Thank you very much. We have listened to Ubani Dannie and we've said a lot today. I hope you enjoyed it. You are free to drop your comments on all the trends, both on our Twitter, our YouTube, and our Facebook handle. Remember that our Twitter is AF News NG on Twitter. On Instagram, the same thing. On Facebook, we have two Facebook handles, Abia Facts Newspaper and AF News on Facebook. Our YouTube is AF Television on YouTube. Please follow all our handles and get all the up-to-date information. Thank you and God bless you. Thank you, Mr. Ubani.
My pleasure.
Thank you for coming. Have a wonderful day. My name remains Emenikile, the anchor of the show. God bless everyone.